How would the current UFC champions do against the weight class above? That's the question of the day, guys. These fighters are real, harder to kill, next level, and they're tighter than krill. But these fighters shine well, brighter than steel. But the size really matter, or is it lighterman skill? Yeah, baby, yeah. The size matter, pause. Or is it lighterman skill? I don't know what it is. But in this video, I compare them, and I try to break it down honestly. Let's just be honest, brother. Let's address the elephant in the room. Champions are next level. I know we see Paulo Costa, but Gane, dude. Lighterman skill is always going to prevail. Paulo Costa, man. He's badass. Damn it. I can't believe Costa beat Khamzat that bad, Fuck, make lighterman skills real. That influenced me to make a video like this, because I'm starting to think to myself, dude, what if I always hear about lighterman skill. I never really bought it until the Khamzat Costa fight. I bought it to an extent, but of course if you're two very skilled people, it might just end up looking like Islam versus Volk, where it could be a competitive fight in an aspect, but the bigger, better fighter or a bigger guy who has similar well-rounded traits as that person should always win. And I feel like it is a bit different looking at champions because they are the most elite in their weight class. This is not like someone good going up against someone good as well. This is the best against the best. So I did look a lot into the champions, and I did try my hardest to break it down. So we're going to start, of course, with the lowest weight class, flyweight. Joshua Van going up to fight Peter Yan. Let's talk about it. Joshua Van versus Peter Yan at 135. I said objectively, Van is the better boxer. Nick said boxer. Van is the better boxer, guys. And I don't think it's that close. I was watching some Yan fights back. He's a good boxer, guys. He's a good catch and shoot boxer. Catches stuff on his high guard and then tries to respond. But a lot of times he's defending like this, fully extended. And he gets hit on the end of a straight punches, 1-2. He'll get hit on it, but you try to turn it a bit. But he's not hard to hit. I watched back the Marcus McGee fight. McGee was just landing on him when he wanted to. It was I don't know. I know Peter Yan's a slow starter per se, but being a slow starter against Joshua Van probably wouldn't be the best recipe to a victory. But I did say Yan's size would be much. I do think he's going to throw something that will sting a bit more than what Joshua Van's used to getting hit by. Of course, not the one problem. Joshua Van has problems, I suppose, but his only loss was him getting knocked out or caught with a punch. And it's not the first time Van's been caught and compromised in a fight, because when you're a primary boxing style, of course you leave openings, especially someone like Joshua Van who's very high volume and kind of always wants to put it on you. Man, Van has the funnest fight style. I've been watching footage for him and Tyra, and I love the way he boxes. It's so beautiful, brother. Strong, look good. I like this guy, Also did highlight how Yan, bro said Yan. What's up with me today? Yan does have the wrestling option. Now, Yan's wrestling isn't typical, let me shoot a double leg on you. It's more let me go for a trip on you. I'm going to just kind of close the distance, do the little Yan trip. You guys know the Yan trip I'm talking about. We always slams these people, has them flying around. Did it against Aljo a bunch. Did it against Marab. Did it against really everyone. And even if you're a good defensive wrestler like Joshua Van is, you're going to get taken down by it. Everyone does. But it's not really to control. It's just to, give you more moving parts to be aware of. So it's interesting. I said the winner, I know who I'm going to pick to win. I said it's 55-45. I want to preface that. Van is 5'5", guys. He's not tall. He's not a tall guy. Yan's 5'7", which is usually short in a lot of his fights. But this is one of those times he's going to actually have the height advantage. I will say Yan's listed at 5'7", but I swear, dude, he's the same height as Marab, who's 5'6". That's all I'm saying. I don't know Yan's height. We're not gonna go into fucking, yeah, man, I think Yan, fuck, we're not doing all that. But the point is, they're both small guys. They both walk around. Maybe when they go ride roller coasters, they have to make sure they're actually the right height. No joke. But I think it's 55-45 for the guy who thinks he's gonna win, and I think the winner would be Joshua Van. Yeah. I thought about it, Guys, I actually was going to say 55-45 Yan. But when I think about it, guys, Van's volume he'll beat Yan off volume. If Van showed me he was the type to get tired or flustered by high output, I would retract my statement. Now, Yan's not as high output as a Brandon Royval and doesn't have as good endurance as a Brandon Royval. These flyweights have absurd endurance, absurd reactivity. They react faster. Lighterman skill is huge here, especially because Yan's not massive for 135. I think if Yan even wanted to, maybe he could cut down. Yan doesn't see me as someone who go up in weight, People like Aljo who looked huge and would do these crazy weight cuts. I knew he'd go up in weight. Jan's not doing an absurd Aljamain Sterling weight cut. Like, it seems like he's just more fit for 135 in general. So he's not wicked big for the weight class, you know, which makes me think more that, like, yes, he's going to be bigger than Van, but it might not be that much of a difference. I'm sure Van going up in weight, he'll carry a bit more power. And Van does put it on people. He puts beating on people. He breaks people. His volume is just crazy. And I think Joshua Van's the best boxer in the UFC alive right now. So, like, that's what I think, of course. I think he's the best boxer skill-wise. Like, when you start to look at power and stuff, then we look at the Ilia Topurias and stuff. But as far as the skill-for-skill boxing, I don't see anyone as reactive, as slick with his counters, as heavy with his output, and just how overwhelming than Van in the boxing. But, of course, there's people with more power. But I feel like if he goes up in weight, he's going to actually bring more power, which I feel like is going to be a very good thing in a fight like this. So I'm going to go 55-45. I actually lean the lighter man here, Joshua Van. So Joshua Van's proven lighter man skills prevailing. For now. You know, I'm sure as we go through this video, there's not going to just be this, because I know it's harder for the lighter man to win on paper in a championship setting. That being said, how would Peter Yan do against a 145er like Volk? I said Volk is more well-rounded and moves better. That's a big one for a fight like this. Second, I said Volk's size is notable here. Volk, unlike Yan, like I said, Yan seems like he's really fit for 135. Volk seems pretty fit for 145, but Volk arguably was one of the best versions of himself against Islam Makhachev that first fight at 155. So he's clearly not like wicked small. Like he's bigger for the weight class. He's a stronger guy, and he carries that density in him, like that bone density. Fuck, he's strong, eh? Like he seems like if you're like the same height as him and he has you against the clinch, I just feel like it'd be so annoying, the pressure he's like putting on you and like shoulder shrugging you with. He just has that man body, you know. He has that stumpy base on him, and I feel like it'd just be a little bit much for Peter Yan, who's like, I feel like a natural 135er. Also said Yan's high guard will do more harm than good. Sometimes I feel like I could see him just standing there and Volk just boom, 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 low kick and then keep circling. And I could actually see Yan trying to be the guy who initiates pressure and chase him, but I just think Volk's movement would be a little bit too much. I said fight IQ likely prevails here because they're both talented fighters. And I said 75-25-4. I'm just going to put it in Volkanovski. Like, I don't think I should lie about this. I know Volk's a bit old now, but I just feel like his fight IQ and his movement and his well-roundedness is just going to be too much for a smaller guy like Peter Yan. Yes, Yan might have the speed advantage. Might, because even someone like Max Holloway had good speed, man, crazy speed. That even translated well in 155 as well. We've seen that from Max, but it seemed like in the last fight with Volk and Max, like Volk was hanging with his speed pretty well. I'm sure Jan's pretty fast as well. I just don't think his speed's going to be something that Volk hasn't seen before. Yeah, I think Max stylistically is even harder for Volk actually, because he's just higher volume than Yan. Like Max is higher volume than Yan, and like he's just more overwhelming. He has more weapons like kicks and stuff. It's just different, you know. I don't even think Peter Yan's trip's gonna work in Volk. Volk's too stumpy. He's gonna go for the trips like tripping a tree stump, bro. Go outside right now and try to do a little trip on a tree stump. That shit's not moving. Volk's a little bit too dense. Volk's a bit too dense, eh? He's a dense guy. Like Volk's the type of guy that like you would drink a milkshake with, you know? Like I drink a milkshake with him and I'd be like, yeah, you know? I don't really know where I was going with that, but I just feel like he'd be a good guy to drink a thick milkshake with. He just gives me that vibe. So yeah, 75-25 Volk. I just think he puts it on Yan. Like Yan, he just can't match Volk's IQ and just well-rounded nature at this weight class at 145. Moving on, what would happen if Volk went up to 155 and fought Ilia? Well, we've seen this before. Unfortunately, we've seen this before. And I actually think going up in weight would favor Ilia even more, just because I feel like at 155 against Charles, he carried more power than I ever seen him carry. He looked strong. His combos look good as well. He looked fast as fuck. Why did he throw 2 punches before Charles threw that straight? That shit threw me the hell off. I remember like, first of all, I remember like just feeling weird when I saw Charles just go out cold. But then I remember looking at the replay. Charles was in the motion of just throwing 1 straight. And Charles is not necessarily even that slow. He doesn't have slow hands. But the process of throwing that 1 straight, just boom, boom. And Ilia drops him. Oh, Volk, never do it, bro. Volk, never. Yeah, man, I want to get that back, mate. Fuck! Volk, no! Don't do it, eh? Oh, Chincha. Oh, Shiba. He wants to get it back, you know. But, brother, all your life, you strong guy, have kids. I like you, brother. Don't go for this. You know, maybe if, I don't know, someone else wins belts like Charles Oliveira, you have a better chance there. Like, trust me, you do. But as long as Ilya Topuria is holding that 155 belt, Volk has no chance of becoming double champ. Volk can definitely become double champ, by the way. He just got to make sure it's not Islam in the weight class above or Ilya. Tough one for Volk, man. Just don't fight Ilya. I think 85-15 is fair for Topuria winning this because it's just gonna be harder. I rewatched the first fight recently. It was like a fight marathon for Ilya. That was still up, and I was watching it, and I was like, guys, even the first round, I remember I thought Volk was doing, but like when Volk was pulling back, Volk's fight, the thing he does in his fights, like he always does it, like it's just a matter of time when you're fighting Ilya before he finds you. And Ilya was even landing on him, like every time Ilya landed on him, like Volk was like, yeah, dude, fuck Volk, why do you do that? But like it was bouncing Volk's head back, like, oh man, literally the second Ilya was like, let me just chain together a little bit longer of a combo, Volk went out. And I feel like that could actually happen earlier if Ilya wanted to. So, yeah, 85-15. The fact that Ilya spent time in the ring with you is even worse because respect to Volk, but, like, he didn't change much in his Diego Lopez 2 fight at all. Like, he's still hittable. He's still, Volk's good, but this fight style just has no chance against Ilya, especially not in a weight class above. Moving on from 155, let's go Ilya Topuria if he goes up to 170. A lot of people want to know this. Let's talk about it. First of all, Ilya striking pros could exploit Islam striking cons. Similar to Volkanovski, Islam pulls back. Let's be real, guys. As an Islam glazer, as an Ilya glazer, I could be very objective here. He pulls back. Islam pulls back, but not only does he pull back and he counters with the check hook every time. I've watched a lot of Islam fights just because he's like one of my favorite fighters, and he does it all the time. He leans back, he keeps this hair in the air, but he always does the check hook. Sometimes the check hook lands. It never really lands with crazy substance though. It's always just kind of just to keep the guy at bay. Like, oh wait, you got me with that. Fuck, dude. Ilya could really duck under that. Boom, boom, boom. Like body. Ugh. His striking pros could exploit the cons for sure. However, Islam's strength, size, and wrestling would be notable. Extremely notable. In a 170 fight, like you're gonna see right there on the fourth bullet point, I said weight class matters here, guys. My pick on this fight depends on weight class. Let's just hope you guys understand that. That's how close, how 50-50 this fight is, because depending on the weight class, I actually feel like I know who wins. I really do. I also said that Islam striking is underrated because people tend to mix up, think his striking is only good because of takedown. Fight. Oh, I don't know why that gets me mad, bro. It just makes no sense. Yeah, man, this guy's striking's only good if he has because he could take people down. Bro, believe it or not, chat, listen, this is going to sound crazy. What if I told you guys everyone in MMA has a takedown threat? When you're fighting mixed martial arts, it's not boxing. Boxers stand a specific way because they're not worried about getting taken down. Yes, Islam has better grappling than everyone. Ilya even has grappling too. Ilya has a takedown threat too. People just aren't going to act like he does. They'll be like, oh, he can't wrestle at all. He's just a boxer. But the truth of the matter is, stop acting like Islam striking is only good because of takedown threat when everyone in the world has a takedown threat. I know plenty of other good wrestlers like Khabib, fucking Usman, Khamzat. All those guys could strike to an extent, But Islam is just different level. You can see by the way Islam moves in his striking. He's different from these other wrestlers with striking. He knows how to pick his poison and pick his shots well. And people were like, oh, well, if Dustin Poirier was able to stuff the takedowns, he wouldn't. Dustin nearly died in there when he was striking with them. Islam outstruck Dustin, who's one of the best strikers. Outstruck Volkanovski and knocked him out in the rematch, who's one of the best strikers. And you can't say, well, on short notice, Volk's striking is worse. Volk is always training year round. Volk's not going to go into a fight in short notice against someone like Islam and just be a horrible striker suddenly. All the years of experience and training that Volk did not just exit the window in that rematch because it was short notice. The thing that short notice would have affected the most, what people aren't going to even accept and acknowledge, his wrestling. That's the only thing it could have negatively affected because he wasn't going to be able to prepare his wrestling accordingly, guys. I don't know why people act like it affected his striking negatively. The truth of the matter is Islam just put him to sleep because in the first fight, you could see Islam catching him with the same head kick. Islam just has good fight IQ. Fight IQ matters. Holy crap. I don't know why I got mad for a second. I'm just people are just so... I hate how people don't count short notice fights to fit agendas. I wish people kept that energy for Usman and Khamzat. He beat Khamzat damn near on short notice on the same card as Volkanovski. But why does Volkanovski on that card get excuse? Oh, it's only short notice. I was like, shut up! Shut up! Fuck! Dude, I can't be asked. I actually don't even want to think about that. Anyways, 60-40. You guys are probably like, who, dude? Who's it for, dude? 60-40 for Islam Makhachev at 170. His striking is enough. Islam could actually be outstriking him to a good extent and then convince Topuria that it's a striking match and then score the takedowns, kind of like what he did to JDM. The JDM fight made me even more confident in him, which is now why it's at 60-40 right now, because at 170, I might have had it at 55-45. Islam's, it's not like this is new, but like he showed me that against a boxer who's heavy on his front leg, like Jack Della Maddalena, he would invest in the low kick. I didn't see that much from him before that. Even with Dustin, who's a primary boxing stance, he didn't use it as much. But that lets me know he's going to use it against an Ilia Topuria, who's also very heavy on that front leg with a primary boxing stance, which makes me more confident in him. Because when you take away a boxer's front leg, there goes their power, there goes their movement, there goes everything that makes them dangerous. So the fact that Islam can do that probably frustrate Ilia to take absurd risk. And then while Ilia is taking those absurd risks, he shoots a takedown and changes levels and makes it very hard for Ilia to get going consistently. That's why I'm saying it's 60-40 for Islam at 170. However, 155, I favor Ilia right now. I'd say like 55-45 because Islam Makhachev with his body and all that, gaining the weight, if he had to crash down and get back down to 155, it's not going to do his body justice. We seen Islam with a bad weight cut and bad rehydration against Volk the first fight. He ended up having one of the hardest fights in his life. I'm not saying his weight cut's going to be horrible like that, but I think it'll be pretty similar because his body's so used to getting all this extra pounds. So if he had to go down to 155, I'd favor Ilia because I feel like the takedowns aren't going to have enough strength behind it, and it could lead to Ilia forcing him to stand, and then when they're standing, that's when problem a little bit starts, when problem commences, and problem starts, and that's when Ilia gets a knockout at 155. I keep hearing them say something about a catch weight at 165 or something. Like, bro, what the hell does that even mean, bro? Ilia got to stop saying that. If you want smoke, brother, come, brother. All your life we give smoke. Brother, don't be scared. Don't be shy. Bring some more, bro. Let's go. So 170, I think Islam Makhachev wins. As a fan of both, I think I care who wins though. I think even though I like both, I feel like I don't know actually. If Ilia wins, he's the GOAT. If Islam wins, he's the GOAT. It's a matter of that. But then again, if Islam wins, it's going to be an asterisk like, oh, well, you wouldn't beat him at 150. Oh my God. You know what? I don't want to think about this fight because I don't want to think about how people are going to react. All I know is they're very close to each other on paper, skill for skill. I just think at 170, Islam's size, strength, and wrestling, as well as his underrated striking, will be enough to get him the job done. So I'm going Islam Makhachev at 170 to beat Ilia Topuria. However, how does Islam do if he goes up to 185 and fights Khamzat? Khamzat will take down Islam and control him early. And I'm very certain of that. Like, I'm very positive that happens. And I know people are getting like, nah, he's going to stuff the takedown. Keep it damn. Shut your mouth, buddy. It has a big, listen to me. I like both of these guys. I don't have a side to pick out. I'm not biased either. Watching Khamzat wrestle Armin, and Armin, in my opinion, might be a bit of a better wrestler. Like, he is a better wrestler than Islam. Especially seeing Armin. Like, Armin's been wrestling all his life now. Not all his life, but recently he's been wrestling. Well, he has been wrestling all his life, but recently he's been wrestling even more. And just thinking back at that video of him and Khamzat wrestling, how Khamzat was just ragdolling him off of pure size and strength. And Armin it wasn't like he was cutting. He was bulky. He was pretty heavy on that fight, on that wrestling match. It lets me know that Khamzat is a little bit different level in this. And even though Islam's a strong guy, like 185 isn't just bulking up to 185. Like Islam made 189 on fight night or something, 190 maybe, something like that. Yeah, to fight at 185, you weigh 185 on fight night. Then you got people like DDP going up to 220 on like fight night. It's different. Like, so it's not about Islam. Like it's just a big weight gain. And like Islam, he didn't struggle too bad. He said it was a little bit hard to gain weight, but like towards the end, like he said, it started getting on a little bit better with the muscle added, but it took him a little bit. This might be a bit too much because fight night, what's Khamzat going to be like 215, 220? What's Islam going to be like? Pull it Izzy? Fuck, dude. Pull it Izzy, like what Izzy did at 205 when he weighed in 200 pounds. Then was on fight night, was like 207. Against Jan Blachowicz, was like 230. I see something similar happening here with the fight night weights are significantly different, and that's going to favor Khamzat even more. I did say the striking favors Islam, but Khamzat's length is going to be troublesome. Of course, Khamzat's about 6'2", Islam's about 5'10". It's just going to be hard to find. Like, you might be a better striker objectively. It's just not going to be really easy to land on him. I said weight class has huge importance here. If they're both at 170, I both seen both of them at 170. Islam beats him at 170. Probably like 70-30, matter of fact. Like, I'm confident Islam beats him at 170. 185, I think it's 60-40 for Khamzat. I just think his grappling might be too much. His length might be a little bit too hard for Islam to get his striking going confidently. Maybe if it goes 5 rounds, it could be interesting because Islam might start shooting takedowns himself, and then it could get a little interesting from there. But as far as just like right now, what I can see, I just think the size might be a bit too much for Khamzat at 185. It's one of those cases where weight class does matter and have huge importance. I think at 170, Islam beats him. But as far as 185, Islam going up, trying to beat that champion, he cannot beat Islam right now if I had to put my life on it. However, how does Khamzat do if he goes from 185 to 205? Because similar to 170, 185, that's a big jump. Like 170 and 185, that's 15 pounds up to make the weight. Then probably another 15, 20 you got to gain just for fight night. How is Khamzat going to do if he has to do that? Versus Ulberg at 205, I said Khamzat would wrestle Mog him. I know Khamzat would wrestle Mog Ulberg. Ulberg's an alright wrestler. His takedown defense is not that tested, not that great from what I've seen though. But I said Ulberg's power and size is a huge deal here. Because people kept saying he gained a lot of weight. He looks goofy in this fight against Yuri. He was still moving well for that extra weight. He has power on him. He's gonna be able to be. You can take him down. He's not wicked easy to hold down from what I've seen, but he's been taken down, bro. He's been taken down a couple times, but he got back to his feet. But striking is night and day, of course. Like if Khamzat plays the game with him, he will get slept. He will get slept playing the game. Of course, I don't want to say dropped by Burns because, of course, he did get dropped by Burns a bit, but he kind of ran into something like a goofball. Khamzat does do something where he gets frustrated almost. He almost runs into people or walks into people when he wants to. He did it against Usman a little bit too when he started brawling. Did it against Gil Burns. He got dropped. There's that tendency of him. Maybe it's an ego thing where he starts to run forward in the strike and try to trade and outwork you. Does that to Ulberg. They're going to have to wake him up. Ulberg actually has a speed advantage in the hands, in my opinion. I think he's more sharp than Khamzat, So it's really going to be a battle of styles, grappler versus striker. The thing that Ulberg being a bigger, stronger guy, it might be problematic in the grappling a bit, but I think 55-45 would actually lean Khamzat here. I'm going to say 55-45. I'm not going to say a crazy number because I do think I got to put some respect on like Ulberg's power and sheer size and his height, However, I just think Khamzat is I think he's next level. I think Khamzat's a different level as far as the grappling is concerned. I think 55-45 might shock some people because they might think it shouldn't be this close, but, I don't know, man. It wouldn't, all I'm saying, if Khamzat, I don't know, if he can't hold him down. Guys, I'll be real, DDP's, not good at wrestling. And I try to let people know that. I think Ulberg might even be better at defensive wrestling because, DDP got taken down by everyone who's ever attempted to take him down in his whole career. Ulberg hasn't, so it's at DDP, I saw him as someone who's very easy work for Khamzat. That's why I made the videos like that, but people thought it was crazy. But when DDP was standing, he kind of stifled Khamzat a bit, and when he landed on Khamzat when he fatigued, it looked problematic. So of course that's the chance that Ulberg has. If he keeps it on the feet and his sheer size is a little bit too much for Khamzat just to maul and hold down for a long period of time. Maybe Khamzat could do it for 2-3 rounds, but can he do it for championship rounds? And if he can't, how's he going to do in the championship rounds if he's forced to stand? How would he do? I just don't trust him that much if he's not able to get the takedown. So I'm going to say 55-45 for Khamzat. I think he gets it done. I just think it's going to be hell if he can't either control him or finish him quickly in the fight, which I do think a quick finish could be possible here. But if he can't, mama, that's all I'm going to say. All right. How does Ulberg do against the heavyweight or potential heavyweight champ? We don't know who it is. I said depends, but it favors both Gane and Pereira. 60-40 probably for Pereira and 70-30 for Gane. Honestly, 205, I think Pereira beats Ulberg. I still might be one of the few who think that. I think Ulberg's a pretty sound striker, but I just feel like Pereira's better. Pereira's low kicks are better. Pereira's timing and endurance and cardio is a bit better. Maybe timing's not better, but his cardio and his overall kickboxing caliber is just a bit better than Ulberg. Both big guys, but yeah, I just don't see Ulberg outpointing Pereira. Blachowicz was going back and forth. I mean, yeah, Blachowicz was going back and forth with him on the feet, it seemed like, in Uzdemir and stuff like that. Pereira would do the same thing, but you do it a bit more. You do it a bit more. Pereira's better than Ulberg, in my opinion. That might be a hot take to some people because recency bias, and maybe he did Yuri quicker, quicker in with one leg, but yeah, I think Pereira beats Ulberg. As for Gane, I think he's gonna be too heavy for him at heavyweight. Gane's a heavyweight. Look at the size of him, bro. On his picture alone, you can see the sheer size of Gane. A little bit problematic in my opinion for Carlos Ulberg. So I think Gane moves so good on his feet. for his size. You know, I still got to do footage on who I think's going to win between Gane and Pereira. When that time comes, I'll tell you guys who I pick for sure. Right now, I'm leaning Gane, so I think Gane's going to be a hard fight for both of these guys. But either way, I don't think Carlos Ulberg has a chance of being heavyweight champion, so he should just stay at 205 and keep running shit there and hopefully be a dominant champion. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe some of you guys have the same takes as me. Maybe some of you guys have completely opposite takes. Let me know what you think down below. That's it for me. God bless. 2, 3, 4.